Welcome to Talk Tickers, where we break down the earnings calls that are really moving the needle. Today, we are digging into HubSpot's massive fourth quarter report for fiscal year 2025. So, you've got to understand the backdrop coming into this report. It was brutal. The entire software world was getting hammered by this fear that generative AI was going to come in and just completely blow up the traditional business model, right? The whole idea of paying per person, per seat. The big, scary monster in the room was the worry that AI could automate everything away, making a platform like HubSpot, well, kind of useless. That was the fear anyway. So you can imagine the one big question hanging over everything, a really existential one for every single investor, was pretty simple. Was HubSpot's business model actually built to last? In the face of this technological tidal wave, could they defend that special something, their competitive moat that keeps rivals at bay, and, actually keep growing? Well, HubSpot's answer was a loud and clear yes. And look, they didn't just squeak by. No way. They came out swinging with a huge beat on both the top and bottom lines, and then followed it up with a super confident outlook, basically staring down the market's biggest fears and not even blinking. And boom, just look at that number. The market's reaction? It was instant. The stock shot up almost 10% the very next day. And let me tell you, that wasn't just a sigh of relief. That was a massive vote of confidence. Investors were basically saying that HubSpot's story isn't just alive and well, it's getting even stronger. Okay, so let's break down the headline numbers that lit that fire. On earnings, they hit $3.09 per share, a solid 10 cents better than what Wall Street was expecting. And then the big one, revenue. They pulled in almost $847 million, which was over $16 million more than the consensus. Just a really clean, really impressive beat all around. But here's where it gets really interesting. You have to look under the hood. Revenue up a massive 20% from last year. Calculated billings, and that's a super important number because it tells you what's coming down the pipeline, that actually accelerated to 27% growth. And this is the real kicker. They're crushing it with bigger customers. Those valuable big ticket deals up an incredible 41%. Wow. And get this, they're not just growing, they're making a lot more money doing it. Just look at the jump on this chart. Their operating margin went from just under 19% a year ago to almost 23% this quarter. That's a huge leap. It shows some serious operating leverage, that beautiful thing where as revenue grows, profits grow even faster. They're firing on all cylinders, growth and efficiency. Okay, so the financial performance was fantastic. Stellar, really. But that still leaves that big nagging question, right? The one that was spooking everyone. How in the world are they actually planning to win in this new age of AI? What's the real game plan? And this quote from their CEO, Yamini Rangan, just nails it. It perfectly sums up their entire strategy. She basically says, look, any old AI can spit out words, but HubSpot wins deals. And why? Because they have the context, all that rich customer data. That context, that's their secret weapon. That's their moat. And it's not just talk. They've got a whole strategy built around this. Think of it in 3 layers. At the very bottom, you've got the context layer. That's the foundation, all that unique customer data. Then on top of that is the action layer, where the AI agents and their software actually get stuff done. And in the coordination layer on top just ties it all together. It's a really smart roadmap for making AI a part of their DNA, not something to be afraid of. And that confidence strategy is baked right into their forecast for the year ahead. And it is strong. They're projecting revenue to get close to $3.7 billion and earnings per share over $12. This is not the guidance of a company that's bracing for a slowdown. This is a company that's hitting the accelerator. And as if all that wasn't enough, management dropped one more bombshell, a really big signal of just how confident they are. The board just approved a new $1 billion share buyback. Think about that. That's the company using its own hard-earned cash to buy its own stock, telling the world, hey, we think our stock is a bargain right now. All right, so we've looked at the quarter, the guidance, the whole strategy. It's time for our verdict in our segment, The Next Call. So what's our prediction for the next call? Well, first, we're expecting another beat and raise in Q1. That momentum with bigger customers feels really strong. Second, we think the stock is going to keep outperforming other software companies as those big macro fears fade and great execution shines through. And finally, the key thing to watch, any updates on how customers are actually using their new AI tools. That's the next big rocket booster for growth. So let's put it all together. You've got amazing execution, a really smart and defensible AI strategy, and a management team literally betting on themselves by buying back stock. For us, that all adds up to one thing. Our rating on HubSpot for the next call is a confident outperform. And as always, just a quick reminder, this analysis is for informational purposes only. This is not financial advice.